Ignite the spark. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Primal Sutra. I am Uncle Makara, all relations. Let's get started today. Today's a very important topic because we're learning how to connect with others, okay? Connection is such an important aspect, guys. You know why? Because it's the opposite of being in our heads. When we are in our heads, we feel disconnected. On Dow, baby. Okay. On Dow. Let's get started. All right, guys. So let me just do the, brief saying beforehand. Read the disclaimer. This is not medical advice, okay? We are talking about some topics which you need to really take this with a grain of salt, okay? I know that there's a big stigma and culture around mental health and healing, and anybody who's struggling mentally, they often get typecasted or put into a box of their potential or even what is even possible for them, right? So I think it's important that we understand our own inner worlds so we can manage our mental worlds, right? Our mental reality, how we feel about ourselves. How do you really feel about yourself? Do you really like yourself? Or are there moments where you're like, man, I don't like this about me? Okay. And that's where the shadow work is, right? The stuff that you're resisting, the stuff that you're being like, I want to push that away. I don't want to deal with that. That's what you need to do most, actually. So in the work you avoid is in the magic that you seek. Okay. So, all right. So let me share this with the tribe. Hold on. All right. Sweet. Also forwarding to that apps. Okay, cool. All right, all right. So we here sunny Palm Springs. Okay. No, we're we're in Kolkata right now, but my background is showing this because this is really the vibe. Okay. To ignite a spark, you got to understand. Today is World National Suicide Prevention Day. And I know that so I was actually suicidal in my past, and I just want to speak about this very briefly. I think what it was is that there was still a tiny speck of me that wanted to live, though. You know what I mean? And I think that anybody who's struggling with this right now knows this. There's a tiny little voice, even though it's small, it's tiny, okay? There is still a part of you that wants to be here and continue. And you exist here for a reason, man, right? You exist here for a reason, so you got to discover what that is. Maybe you haven't, but that's completely valid. Okay. But when you are here, you got to understand something. You can't keep sacrificing your current happiness for your future happiness. You're going to have to make some changes. Okay. Because when you're inspired, the productivity, it takes no effort. Okay. Because it's already backed by universal energy. You see? So what you need is to find that inspiration again. From what? The desperation. Okay. To go from desperation to inspiration, we must do what makes us happy and passionate and try things out. If you don't know what that is, you got to try and experiment with different things, right? Passion is the result of you going in the direction of your higher calling or your happiness. So don't wait for the perfect conditions for you to take action and just inspire somebody to ignite that spark. A lot of high value people that I've met really value immediacy. They take action in the moment, they think big, they create value by acting on that immediacy. They just start. Okay? Think big doesn't mean overthink big. Okay? Think big means I'm setting goals that are enormous so that it can give me that gravitational pull. Let's take the example, right? let's say that someone wants to go faster than this race car driver or something. And he says, I can only go this much amount, right? 60 kilometers an hour, let's just say, even though that's very slow, but irregardless, okay? Let's just go with that. And then they're like, they say 60 to themselves, right? They're gonna probably see 60 as a very big goal, right? To them. Now, if they say 100, they might even reach 60. You guys get what I'm saying? So when you can think big, you actually extend the finish line and you understand that it's much more possible because I've given myself a perceived possibility, right? So you got to perceive your wins, perceive the successes as they're about to happen. As your body's transforming, you actually acknowledge that, right? You don't just kind of push it away. No, this is something you got to feel proud of and actually take the time to give yourself the celebration. Okay. You did some incredible things, yo, right? So you got to sleep and recharge as well. Okay. Now, initio is a Latin word for inspired. It also means beginnings. So you've got to understand that if you're feeling really bad and despair, like there's something wrong with you, and that's causing you to feel even more despair, right? Because you think that it's bad and it's shameful or whatever. And that shame downward spiral comes through painful hard wiring that you have to disentangle yourself from, right? So my advice to you, if you are really fucked up in a state right now, is do like a hypnosis or a guided meditation before you sleep, right? Completely, you got to change your subconscious around, right? You've been absorbing too much negativity in your brain that you've gotten yourself to this mode. You've let your self-talk pan out and be louder than the voice of your own inspiration, right? And so the pain is exceeding the pain coping resources. That's why you feel like I want to end this, right? However, when you can feel the energy in somebody, let's say that I'm like this, okay? I'm speaking to you guys like this. When I'm pulling back, it's almost like I'm ready to attack you guys, right? So you guys are going to also close yourself up or also get into a fight stance or fight mode, okay? So it's important to notice these things when you're socializing because people can feel your energy. They understand what's really going on. You don't even need to lie about it or fabricate anything. It's like it's all very plain in sight. To someone who's intuitive, it's very obvious. However, there's some key points here, okay? Stagnant water versus flowing water, okay? As Pops V or Varuna, Lord Varuna, who we work with, the Indian Poseidon, okay, says stagnant water rots, flowing water lives. So this applies to mental health too, because when life feels stagnant, it's very easy to feel disconnected, feel stuck, which leads to despair and more isolation. So flow represents movement, it represents life, it represents energy. It's inviting us to recognize the moments of stagnancy in our life and ask ourselves, where can I invite flow? What is an area of my life that I can invite more flow? Remember, Social September is a month that's focused on social connection. This is actually an antidote to isolation. Okay, but not enough people talk about that, right? Now we talked about vibe matching. I think I got a lot of questions from the adepts, so I compiled this topic today for you guys about aligning energetically with others, okay, to create stronger, meaningful connections. So vibe matching isn't about losing yourself. Okay, this is something that's very deep to understand. It's about tapping into a mutual stream or a mutual flow with that other person. So first of all, you're looking for the way you sync up with your connections. It opens up space for real conversations where people actually feel heard and understood and feel like they're connected to the other person. Okay. Mysticism and flow state together is a very healing tool, because this is a bridge towards healing, because in moments of deep connection or creativity, we transcend our everyday struggles or our worries or our mental health issues, right? Because when we're in flow and meditation and movement and creativity, we can shake off the stagnancy towards more of a mental clarity, a relief, a letting go, right? A release phase of the flow cycle. So if we have practices that are divinely inspired practices, you know, when your guides are telling you, just do some breath work, yo, or just go dance or go for a walk, right? Engage in some creative outlet, right? Encourage people to seek activities that make them feel more alive and present with you. And you've got to start, let's say you can chant the Hanuman Chalisa, right? Or setting intentions. You can connect with your higher self. You can also understand that being present for others is actually irreplaceable, right? Just like flowing water can revive dry land, being present can revive somebody's spirit. Okay? So you have to encourage each other to check in on your friends right now. Okay? Hey, man, how are you doing? Sometimes just listening or just being there is enough to remind someone of their value, so they don't have to go down the route of despair and being a doomer about it. But reminding yourself that you can keep your own energy in that flux, in that flow, right? You can uplift others who are also feeling stuck or stagnant because you've done it before. You say, let's create flow together and help each other thrive. Okay? And you simply help somebody in need by being open to connection. That's it. Okay? I know we grow up with a lot of unwritten social rules, okay, that tell you that don't take care of yourself, or, you know, let's say you got a lot of neglect growing up or something. Now you're coping as a way of doing as they do. You're neglecting others, right? And now, you know, it's like, to have a me, you got to understand you have a personal needs, a truth, you know, values, but belief systems, all this stuff. And then there's a you, right? Another person, the other, which also they have their personal needs, their values, their truths, right? And that understanding is how you create an impact, right? Conscious living is just about caring about the you, the other. That's it, right? You got to start small, right? When you go to the gym, you start by lifting the small weights first. This is the same thing with inspiration, man, and socializing. Courage is also a muscle like this, right? You can't go for the extremely heavy weight in the beginning. You got to go for the smaller weights to build your confidence. Then you get stronger. Then you learn and push past the pain because you can take it, right? I love my body's soreness, actually. I've grown accustomed to it. It's like a second skin, right? So, but that's coming from the pre-speech frequency. You guys see that? So what blocks inspiration, man? When you're forcing it, when you're trying too hard, when you're out of the zone, right? We have 5 people watching. Anybody have any questions? What's up with y'all? It's 2:20 for me right now. And Ryan G keeps sending me these dope Varuna Makara art. Okay. Incredible. Straight off the presses of the manga. Okay. Yep. Very Castlevania vibe. Good. Incredible, guys. How to emotionally connect with others. Self-connection. Hey. Messages from Pops V and Uncle M. What do they have to say in regards to socializing? They're saying something around like a smile can paint 1,000 words or something like that. Like, um, your smile can guide someone through an entire story without you knowing it. Something along these lines, the power of the smile and just being able to hold it in not only externally but internally, right? So it warms your organs, so it warms your entire body, right? As you're socializing. So you become the walking smile, right? You embody that. You're the walking smile. That's from Pops V. Um, Uncle M, what do you got? Okay. Very interesting imagery he's giving me. He's giving me almost the fact like a brain and then it's coming down the spinal cord, and the spinal cord is almost like a lightning bolt, like a, and it's like squiggly, almost in a sense, like a snake. And what I'm sensing is, does this have to do with the Vajra Dragon Yoga, Uncle M? Yeah. Okay. So we've been working on creating a bridge between the throat chakra path and the sacral chakra path, the connection being expression, right? And on Social September, I think it's very right that we come up with and come out with the charisma yoga or Riz yoga, if you want to call it that. Because really what we're doing is we're activating our energy centers and we're creating a bridge from our creative center up to our vocal expression. Okay. So if you ever wanted to sound better, right? Sound more attractive, sound sexier, sound more impactful, sound more influential, this is a good idea, right? To do this kind of yoga that we're going to provide for you as adepts. And it's going to be very powerful because you can always do this before you go out to socialize and get a massive results cascade, an avalanche of results based on this. Okay. All right, thank you. I'm just maybe I just tapped into Uncle M's energy there because he he kind of puts me into this very contemplative mode, like I'm kind of a detective waiting in the lobby or something, and I'm waiting for the next like assignment. Okay, that's what it feels like CSI Makara or whatever. So, all right, guys. Any other questions? Who's watching? Let yourself be known. Don't be hiding on here. I don't like ninja watchers. Okay. Holla, ain't no stopping me. Oh, we have Missy Elliott in the audience. Okay. It's coping to thriving, brother. You know, it's really coping to thriving because if you were constantly like face inwards thinking about you and your own self-preservation, you're self-conscious. So you got to go from self-conscious to other conscious. That's how you make a spark happen. You take your consciousness and you flip it like this out here. Earlier was like this energy is stuck here, right? It's blocked in your throat, you're in your head, and now you're flipping it out the throat. Hello, hi, right? And out the head into the ether. So you go, okay, here we go. Another one of those nights. If you say that, that's gonna set up your night like that. Okay. The other version is a goofier version I'm gonna show you, but it brings you way greater results. Why is it? It's a vibe thing, baby. Okay. Hey, hey, and that on the floor, bumping and grinding. Oh, yeah, yeah. Look at the second version. Okay. Intonations, jagged lines, okay? It's creative. It has impact. There's musicality. Maybe there's crustaceans, playing a ukulele in the background. Who the fuck knows, man? Hey, young Hefe, what's up, Unc? Going through major transformation. That's self-reflection. That's right. Welcome to the Mirrorverse, my friends, where we all reflect against each other like shining prisms, and we create an intercollected a light spasm into the cosmos. All right. Sweet. Any questions? Anything coming up for you guys? How do you personally ignite the spark with others? How do you realize that you add value with your vibe as you're going out, as you're interacting with others, as you just say hi to friends? Have you ever felt special before? Okay. Have you ever felt special before, like in your group of friends or just, in general? Okay. Claudia's laughing. Yep. So if you've ever felt that specialty, right, you know that it's given you access to behave in a very specific way that wouldn't be there if you weren't given that privilege of the specialty or the special treatment or whatever you want to say. Okay. So treat yourself, right? But it's really about understanding to treat yourself in a social venue. If somebody's annoying you with boring talk, you got to excuse yourself and get out of there. Okay. You're wasting minutes of your time and you're getting more aggravated and you're waiting there. So you have a polite escape or your friend drags you away. You got to get out of there. Okay. And yes, a lot of people, they use the bathroom thing. Oh, let me use the restroom. Okay. By the time they're back, if they're talking to somebody else or something like this, or they're gone. Right. Now, look, you can't get so personal when it comes down to social interaction. It's wild, right? It's counterproductive to think like this, but it's non-mainstream. The kind of thinking I'm giving you guys is non-mainstream, right? It's very esoteric and hidden. So the way I want you to understand it is I am so not making this interaction personal because it's just an exchange of expression, right? It's just a mechanism for that. It's just a vehicle for that. So if somebody's like, that was rude, arrogant, or something, or I don't know how they would react, right? Just be like, was it? Okay. So there's no need for you to suddenly fight back, okay, and create like the greatest comeback ever. Oftentimes you just amplify it to a ridiculous proportion. This is what I do, at least, right? I take the concept, I amplify it to a ridiculous proportion. So it's silly, bro, in my head. Okay. It's the same example that I gave. It's like that one of my students, he was asked, why are you so antisocial? Are you always? No, it was, are you always this antisocial? Okay. And the answer back was, I'm not antisocial. I'm asocial. Or I'm not antisocial. I just don't hang around people a lot. I'm not, it's fighting against it. You see what I'm saying? There's a resistance. He doesn't really want to say that even, right? His ego is making him say that or something. You guys sense that too, right? Let's not forget we were walking each other home. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if he would have just accepted the fact that, are you always this antisocial? You go, yeah, you can find me in the corner over there. Okay. That's where I set up my tent. Okay. You see the difference, guys, right? So one is like taking it so seriously that it's getting crystallized. Another one is actually, it's cinematic, the seriousness, right? Like Ryan G was showing me an example yesterday. And the dialogue is cinematic, right? So even though being very vulnerable with his expression, there is a dynamism to it. It's not boring, right? It's not like oh, this guy's just whining, right? No, there's a storyline forming based on the expression, right? Which emotional spikes are actually very exciting, and we can get washed away in them, right? Other people's storylines, right? It's so easy to. So you really have to keep your own emotions in check, like they're your little in your little pokeballs or whatever, right? Well, I guess you'd have one, right, with multiple in them. That's kind of weird though, huh? Like multiple, how do they fit in there, right? I've always wondered that, like technology, like how do those fucking Pokemonsters fit in there? I mean, how do they zoom in and out, right? Like a fucking right? It's like this tiny ball, right? But I think it's quite interesting to use that analogy for ourselves and our higher selves, because it's like when I'm doing deity yoga, I imagine a similar thing, that how can, Padmasambhava meditate in my, chest or heart area or heart chakra space in a lotus, right? That makes no sense other than the fact that he was in a Pokeball or something and he came down, right? And he fused as lights and then he sat down right here. And then I sometimes like connect bridge to certain spirit guides and deities and I speak as them in the venue. And that's quite fun because different people respond differently. Like if I do a Hermes one, some Greek lady next door or whatever will probably get interrupted with that energy, like for just a brief second, right? Like a little glimpse of it. Um, Even though like we're not talking to each other, we're not seeing, but she's seated, let's say, very far away in the venue, we'll still notice that energy, right, as it's coming up. It could be a cultural connection, it could be an actual deity connection with other people, right, guys? So the way you pick this up and you understand this is oftentimes they'll bring up some topic over and over again. Like, and it's usually in connection to something symbolic spiritually. Okay. So they'll bring it up again and again and again, again and again and again. It's one of their guides trying to get it through to you, right? In a certain way. And so usually that's a sign that, like, okay, figure out who my guide is. Okay, type of thing. As far as I've understood it, right? This is not so plain and simple. It's not like spirit math, right? That you can kind of tell all the time that your intuition is that sharp. But usually this is a general rule that I've noticed, is somebody who's bringing up a topic that relates back into their own life and it has a very symbolic significance from a spiritual pantheon or a path working, and it makes sense to them in their own spiritual theme, they should look into that, right? And what that other person is telling them. And not just look at it as face value and like at an appearance on the surface level. You have to kind of look underneath and what it really means, right? But yeah, it's so important that, we're on different stages of the journey, everybody. And you can never judge your path on another. It's just not possible, guys. What do you mean? You're comparing apples to lasagna here, guys. You get what I'm saying? It's like two different things. It they're completely like they're separate categories, and we're like clumping all of them together. Like, who's the best, pop artist? Does it really matter, right? Does it really matter who the best is? As long as you have your interests and it guides you along and keeps you safe going back from work, or whatever. It's on your headset. Like, does it really matter who's the best pop artist of the 21st century, right? Have we forgotten about having actual potent guides that are non-celebrity idol worship, right? But this is what we used to do. Our religions growing up used to be like, you used to have like a Justin Bieber poster or something, right? And you are in the Justin Bieber religion. Okay, you were a real believer. Okay. So we do this, we deify people, right? Instead of frequencies, instead of understandings, instead of essences, instead of archetypes. I deify the different way that the divine shows up. It's so beautiful, right? And I'm not chasing the golden calf or whatever they say in the Bible, right? I'm not doing that either. Like I'm not going after one way that it's so perfect that the way I embody the divine. No, this is why I love exploring all these different pantheons, man. It's exciting to me, you know. The Yoruba pathwork is so interesting, and we work with Agwe, those energies, you know. We work with Dragon King and the Taoist and the Chinese energies. We work with, you know, the Hindu pantheon, of course, right? Nataraja and Nagaraja, you know, Shiva, and Ganesha, Hanuman, all of these beings, right? Ma Saraswati recently, because of our own creativity and academic journey. We also love to work with Greek, Roman, different deities, right? From different walks of life. And it's really inspired, even like the Aztec, right? Quetzalcoatl or Tezcatlipoca, okay? But if you ever look at those beings, man, they kind of look like aliens to me, okay? Those beings, they sort of look like they're riding a spaceship or something. You guys know what I'm talking about? They're always like they have some knob that they're turning or they're having like something that they're doing something, right? They're creating something. They're in the mode of creation. And it gives me a very alien type of vibe, these certain beings. However, let's not forget that we are not, these are all aspects of source. These are all aspects of the divine in all of these various ways, right? And Adam Kadmon or whatever, right? That as um Thoth mentioned last night in the channeling is like the way that we name our galaxy's form, right? The human form in the galaxy. And why is that coming up? Hmm. I'm honestly thinking that there's like the you know the Galactic Federation of Light. They're giving me random signals at night that I'm so unaware of what they mean. Okay. I'm gonna have to find a translator, I think, for this because osmosis is kind of just recording everything and putting it into some kind of a cloud server for me, but I'm not able to comprehend some of his notes. They're very dense and um what's the word? Very obtusely academic, you know, the choice of words. So when should I get that new tat, new art shared? After blue belt. After you get the blue belt ceremony. All right. Any other questions, guys? Or else we're gonna wrap it up. Igniting that spark. Bzz, right? You'd be surprised. You can actually send energy through your energy centers. You can send people symbols through your mind to theirs, right? Using telepathy, telepathic empathy. Okay. Um, it's a very good idea to heal others from afar, distance healing. You just take the loving energy of the universe and you visualize that you're harnessing it through your hands and then you're sending it out. So whoever needs it, wherever in their body you notice tension, if you go through their auric field like this. So get an image of someone and just go like this, just as they're in front of you, like you have their aura, right? Are you sensing like little flickers in the air or little like denseness or cloudiness in the air as you do that? So like try it again. Think of someone. If you're feeling some stagnancy or a little bit of like, how do I describe this? Like the way that the air kind of folds. is heavier or something, those are like their blocks, right? So what you can do is you can send like a vibration, like through a hum. You can send an object in like that you think of, like a visual thing or a visual cue, right? You're transferring it through mind to mind, etheric. You can also burn it and then it shows up in the ether, but you write their name on it. You sign their name on it before you burn it. Okay. Um, there's different ways to do this, right? So there's many different styles of this, but I would definitely say that the best one for me, this is I shared this with the adepts too, but it's very powerful. It's to connect your breath to theirs. Okay. So the breath is the inspiration, it's the spirit. Okay. It's the gateway to spirit. So if you notice their breath is very fast, you go fast with them, but then you pace it back like slowly, right? And then now you're more connected. You're on the same field, you're on the same frequency. Okay. Mirroring someone, of course, is there, but don't make it so obvious and blatant. Okay. It's very subtle. It's just a sort of a reflection, almost a little bit, right? To create better rapport, better connection with others. Hey, we really like ourselves, okay? So whenever we see someone who reminds us of ourselves in some way, we're like, fuck yeah, right? So that's really the key here, right, guys? Is to understand that people love acknowledging themselves, what they've done. So you just gotta let people shine, man. Just see them in their brightest light. And if they're showing off, just know that, you just gotta pick it up energy wise, right? Like what are they really saying with that? Okay. Um, is it really about your trip to Lagos, or is it something deeper than that that you're not sharing? Okay. Because we as shamans, we know when someone's just kind of, yeah, it's cool to be braggadocious, but you also got to bring it back to the community, how it helps the tribe move forward in some way, because it's always healing first, man. I've understood that it's such an important mentality, at least to have this healing mentality of like everything can be healed, and carrying that potentiality within you, actually, where you go into places and you understand that I can just set an intent of love on this place, right? This grocery store, so I can keep returning back to it, you know? Just very simple, but it's monumental what it does for your spiritual path, just setting an intention like that. And you can always carry like crystals and stuff with you. That's a interesting way to do it. Or I'm starting to wear more like silver, gold, and stuff like this just because it helps me connect to some of the deities and their energies. Okay. And I've been working with primarily Drukpa Kunle's energy, crazy wisdom, his energy. I've been working recently with Shiva's energy. I've been working with what's his name, man? Dorje Shugdan, right? With the yellow hat. The Dharma protector. Been working with his energy. Been working with well, Citri showed up randomly out of the blue, the demon, which was random, but then he left. Um, Archangels, a lot of archangels have come around, Raziel specifically. And Gabriel, I think Gabriel showed up at one point, as well as Michael. And who else has shown up recently in terms of energetics of this thing? Ah, yeah. My Shaktis were there as well. Like a lot of them show up. Ma Parvati was there, Harmonia, Nama, so forth. Okay. So yeah, very, very powerful, guys. This was a good one. Thank you for the topic. Let me know if you guys have any other questions or anything that you want me to wrap up with. If not, we can end it now. Anything coming up. Anything coming up. Whoa. This was an interesting card I just pulled from the fairy deck. The Fate deck. Okay. Prince of Winter. Intellectual, determined, focused, impulsive. Damn. This kind of feels like though, huh? And Ryan G, isn't this like your white what was it called? The mongoose, right? Dang. Kuberaji's coming up, huh? Seek out an intellectual solution to your problem. The need to act quickly and decisively. Sudden or unexpected changes. I'm telling you guys, the immediacy of it, right? In the moment, what can you do? That's the real thing as a shaman. It's like you got to be a shaman on your toes. You know what I mean? You can't keep carrying your sage with you everywhere you go, right? There's got to come a point where you have the internal tech so strong that you could go into a village in the middle of nowhere and still help these children, right? Like you don't need to carry your entire like sage pack with a bunch of feathers and a peacock feather and a stone tablet, right? And a random thing you got from like some gift store in Nicaragua. Like you don't need all of those things in that one bag, right? You can use that as a shaman on the go if you have like a go-to bag or an action pack or something like that. That's fine. However, don't overcomplicate it, is what I'm saying, right? If you just want to make things real simple, you just have your cards with you, you have something else, you boom, you're ready to go, right? And you got to make it so that you have the internal tech so strong. I'm saying that's why it's so important to get to the level of imagination, then level it up to intuition, and then level it up to inspiration. Because inspiration is really about your life path, right? And where it's pulling you towards. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you guys. Stay legendary. And I'll be seeing you guys in the astral. Let's do a ritual. Tomorrow for Portal Day. Okay. There will be also an Adishesha channeling. Let's get it. Okay. Upward Spiral Gang. May we never be the same.